all the important dignitaries that are here, my fantastic students, great Nigerian students, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this event is organized by the Faculty of Social Science, the faculty that leads, another faculty follows. Faculty of Social Science is the pioneer faculty in University of Abuja. And for over 30 years, close to 40 years now, this faculty has been providing qualitative and research-based education to many Nigerians and all those who have entered into the domain in search of knowledge. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, under my watch as the dean of this faculty, I have built on the existing legacy of academic excellence. And this has been instrumental to the production of top-range graduates, including Senator Philip Aduda, the amiable senator. It will interest you that it's one of our products of this university. A round of applause for him. So, we've been producing top-range graduates and academia that have had tremendous impact, either directly or indirectly, on the growth and development of this country. In furtherance to its commitment and dedication to sustainable development, the Faculty of Social Science is organizing this 26th Annual Distinguished Personality Lecture Series, which is entitled Exemplary Political Leadership and Infrastructural Development in Nigeria, Between Dividends of Democracy and Good Governance. You could see that this particular topic is timely, considering the fact that we are in campaign year. This discourse is going to enlighten us about our roles in 2027 general election. What is expected of us as a good citizen of Nigeria on how to deepen democracy and also attain good governance. This year's event has meticulously selected the man of the people, the political giant at the center of political spectrum in Nigeria, the real empirical political man of the year, the political gangantum that need to be celebrated in every political forum, the one who refused to bow to political pressure. I'm talking about no one other than the Honorable Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Nyesom, who's on Wike. I have no doubt that all of us that are physically present here are very much familiar with his remarkable performance. Right from the time he was the executive chairman of Obiakpo, local government area of Rivers State. And since then, since 1999, he has not stopped influencing on political scene in Nigeria. Only few politicians could be boast of such political milestone in this country. It will also interest you to note that the Honorable Minister is a very fantastic man that combine intellectual agility with academic prowess. That's the main reason why he's been chosen by the Faculty of Social Science to come and be our special guest speaker today. I also need to tell you that his activities in politics, his performance in administration were premised on great vision, integrity, commitment, and dedication that have strengthened democratic governance in Nigeria today, also deepened democratic ethics and values, and also advanced institutional resilience across the 36 states of Federal Republic of Nigeria. Even the dead, the blind, someone who is hearing impaired, could actually testify to his political contribution towards this great nation. The Honorable Minister of Federal Capital Territory is actually the man of the people in Nigerian contemporary politics today. And I believe all of us, we are going to learn a lot from him. In political science and international relations, which is one of the departments in the Faculty of Social Science, I think a new dimension is coming up to study Wikeism. We are making frantic effort to incorporate it as part of the CC Mass of NUC, Wikeism, where we are going to learn about the pragmatic approach of Wike's political adventure. This is so because he has been highly inspirational to the new generation of politicians in Nigeria today. He has uplifted many Nigerians in Nigeria today, both socio-economically and socio-politically. And I'm also waiting to be uplifted as one of those successful Nigerians who have benefited from the political advisory of our Honorable Minister of Federal Capital Territory. Before you today, I appeal to all of us to listen attentively to the very rich presentation that's going to make to us on exemplary political leadership and infrastructural development in Nigeria. It's actually an icon of democracy and infrastructural development in Nigeria. No one has ever done it better. A round of applause for our Honorable Minister of FCT. So with this, we've actually promoted and will continue to promote accountability in governance, and will continue to ensure institutional resilience in all the political spectrum in Nigeria, so that all of us will benefit from it. My dear students, this is a great opportunity for you to also benefit and hear directly from the horse's mouth, the man who has seen it all. And I want all of you to always support democratic ethos and values. I want all of you to see yourself as solution to Nigerian problems, not to compound it. And I want to appeal to you that you should all prepare not to participate in political thuggery, not to participate in political violence, and not to destroy the political structure that have been built in this country for over 30 years. We need to continue supporting our country, and we need to work towards achieving 2027 general election so that Nigeria will continue to be great and great again. Once again, You are welcome, our August visitor, and we pray that God Almighty will continue to guide you right. Thank you very much.
Well, please let's appreciate once again Professor Mutiulai for his very insightful address, quite apt and inspirational. Please let's appreciate him once again. May I, at this juncture, invite the chief host, the Vice Chancellor of our university, Professor Hakeem Babatunde Fawayimi, for his address.
The Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, His Excellency Barrister Dr. Nyesom Wike, Commander Order of the Niger, a man whose political sagacity and transformational leadership is being felt across the length and breadth of this country and his dear family, the chairman of the occasion, Professor Aminu Ibrahim Gusau, MNI, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Rosemary Udozo, the Provost, College of Health Sciences, Professor Titus Ibekwe, the Acting Registrar of the University, Malam Mohammed Sambo, Distinguished Senator Philip Aduda, distinguished senators here present, the Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences, Professor Mutiula Olashupo, distinguished professors, heads of departments of the Faculty of Social Sciences, their academic staff, our very great and dear students, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. You are welcome to this occasion and wish to state that it is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to the 2026 Annual Distinguished Personality Lecture organized by the Faculty of Social Sciences at the University of Abuja, now Yakubu Gowon University. This annual lecture series is one of the important ways the university advances its intellectual tradition, providing a veritable platform for critical discourse and engagement on national issues, particularly the connection between leadership and development. The theme of this year's lecture, Exemplary Political Leadership and Transformational Development in Nigeria, Between Dividends of Democracy and Good Governance, is both timely and apt. It speaks directly to the aspirations of our nation and the expectations of citizens for leadership that delivers on welfare, safety, and the provision of critical infrastructure for sustainable development. Universities are centers of knowledge production and policy engagement are reliable platforms for this kind of conversation. We are spaces where future leaders are trained and nurtured, and where ideas are generated to address structural challenges that impede national development. As the only federal university in the Federal Capital Territory, the University of Abuja occupies a strategic place within Nigeria's institutional framework. This makes our role even more significant within the FCT, with which our special guest of honor, the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, His Excellency Barrister Dr. Nyesom Wike, represents as a critical pillar in Nigeria's governance architecture. Honorable Minister, we sincerely appreciate your presence here today. The University of Abuja is your university, and your presence reflects your recognition of the important role of this university, and indeed universities play generally in shaping the future of governance, leadership, and national development. We have seen the several roles you have played in other universities in enhancing their structural development. Over the years, despite inadequate funding, the University of Abuja has continued to record modest achievements, expand in scope, student population, and academic offerings, with a corresponding increase in demand for infrastructure and institutional support. In this regard, we kindly seek the continued support and partnership of the FCT administration under your able leadership in key areas that are critical to our growth and functionality. First, His Excellency, there is the need for critical infrastructure, such as the academic core roads at our Giri staff quarters, the rehabilitation of our academic core roads, which were constructed over 20 years ago, and expansion of our water supply system. There is the critical need of male and female students' hostel. These projects are critical to the well-being of staff and students. Second, sir, as a rapidly growing institution, the university faces challenges relating to physical development and campus security. We will greatly value the support of the FCT administration in safeguarding the integrity of our land through structured and lawful mechanisms that will preserve it for educational purposes and future expansion. This remains essential to maintaining the long-term vision of the university as a center of excellence. The university already has in place MOUs with national and international institutions for the rapid development of our land, unlocking new funding streams, and supporting the drive for accelerated homegrown solutions to the nation's scientific challenges. We are confident that these collaborations will soon begin to yield fruit. Third, as we prepare for our forthcoming convocation in April this year, we look forward to the continued goodwill and support of the Honorable Minister and the FCT administration in sustaining this long-standing tradition of partnership. Such support strengthens the enduring relationship between the university and the Federal Capital Territory. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Governing Council, ably led by distinguished Senator Dr. Olarewaju Teju Osho and the entire university community, I sincerely thank our special guest of honor, His Excellency Barrister Dr. Nyesom Wike, CON, and also the chairman of the occasion, esteemed guests, students, distinguished members of the press, and all you gathered here today. As we listen to the insights that will be shared, I encourage everyone to engage thoughtfully and draw lessons that can inform both policies. We are also happy to have the two young Wikes here with us. We are happy to have you as part of our university today. You are very much welcome. I thank you all for coming, and God bless you as you listen to my speech. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Vice Chancellor, for that beautiful speech and address. You made very clear demands, and we believe that the Honorable Minister, who is a listening leader, listened to you very well, and he is going to take a lead from there. Please, let's appreciate the Vice Chancellor once again. Let me quickly recognize the presence of Honorable Chidi Amadi, the Chief of Staff to the Honorable Minister. We also have Senator Professor Sandy Ono, and we have Mr. Laulu Akande, who is the former spokesperson to the former Vice President. Please, let's appreciate them all. I will make in progress. The chairman of this occasion is the former coordinating director of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. It's now my pleasure to invite Professor Aminu Ibrahim Gusso, MNI, for his address. Please, let's appreciate him as he comes to the podium.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, the Vice Chancellor, University of Abuja, distinguished members of the Senate, the Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences, University of Abuja, esteemed and colleague academics, students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, sir, permit me to say this before I start. I am a technocrat and a scholar. My views about you and what you do and still doing for the country is based on these two areas of thoughts in line with the theme of this program. It is a profound honor for me to chair this distinguished occasion as we gather to celebrate a leader whose name has become closely associated with bold governance, rapid infrastructural renewal, and decisive public administration. His Excellency, Barrister Ezinwo Nyesom Wike, CON, Honorable of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and former Minister of River State. Today's lecture series provides more than ceremony. It offers reflection within this intellectual environment. We examine leadership not merely by rhetoric, but by performance and measurable outcomes. In honoring the Honorable Minister, we acknowledge a public servant whose tenure in the Federal Republic of Nigeria has been marked by visible transformation and accelerated project delivery. Since assuming office in August 2023, Barrister Wike has embarked on an ambitious drive to restore the Abuja Master Plan, strengthen in infrastructure, and revive long-abandoned projects. Major networks have been completed and rehabilitated across the territory, including key arterial roads connecting the city center to satellite towns. The completion and commissioning of projects such as the Apo-Wasa Road, the rehabilitation of inner city corridors, and the realization of strategic junctions have significantly improved mobility and economic activity within the FCT. Attention has also been extended to satellite towns, including Gwagwalada, Kubwa, Bari, and Karu, where road construction, drainage improvements, and public infrastructure upgrades are ongoing. Several previously stalled contracts have been revived and brought to completion, reinforcing a governance approach that prioritizes continuity and accountability. Beyond transformation infrastructure, the FCT administration under this leadership has strengthened development control enforcement and land administration reforms aimed at improving transparency, restoring urban order, and enhancing internally generated revenue. Investments in street lighting, environmental sanitation, and public space management have contributed to improved security and urban aesthetics. Ladies and gentlemen, leadership is rarely comfortable. It requires firmness. It requires resolve, and sometimes unpopular decisions. Barrister Wike's public service record, from his tenure as governor of River State to his current role as FCT minister, reflects a consistent pattern: decisive execution, infrastructure expansion, and institutional assertiveness. Please permit me to speak personally. Having spent over 27 years in the United States and served, excuse me please, 1 second. Can I have a tissue? Sorry about that. Permit me to speak personally. Having spent over 27 years in the United States and served as a university lecturer for more than a decade at the University of Kansas, I've had the privilege of observing leadership models across different systems. Over the years, thank you very much. I've had the privilege of observing leadership models across different systems. Over the years, I've come to understand that truly effective leaders share one common trait. They possess good intention for the people and translate that intention into concrete action. Indeed, Barrister Wike belongs to that category of leaders. You may like his personality, you may not like his personality, but one thing is certain: he works. And he works for the people. In governance, results matters. Infrastructure matters. Systems matters. When citizens can see completed roads, revive projects, improve lighting, strengthen regulation, and enhance order in public administration, then leadership becomes tangible. While it is widely acknowledged that progress in several critical sectors of the national economy, such as energy, where persistent power shortages continue to constrain productivity, agriculture, which still grapples with value chain inefficiencies, security, which remains a major concern, and other socio-economic factors has been slower than desired. It is important to recognize that a contrasting narrative is evident in the Federal Capital Territory under Barrister Wike. In Abuja, despite these broader national constraints, Barrister Wike has demonstrated that purposeful leadership can still deliver tangible results through decisive action, accelerated infrastructural delivery, and firm administrative control. He has pushed visible development in the nation's capital, proving that even within a challenging macroscopic environment, commitment, discipline, and execution can translate vision into reality. Abuja is not merely a city. It is Nigeria's capital and a symbol of national identity. It must function efficiently. It must reflect organization, discipline, and progress. The accelerated phase of development of project commissioning, the insistence on timelines, and the revival of abundant infrastructure demonstrate a leadership philosophy anchored by pure delivery. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, universities are centers of ideas and critical engagement. It is therefore fitting that this recognition occurs within the University of Abuja. Leadership in public service must be examined objectively. It must be assessed by outcomes that improve daily life. In that regard, the Honorable Minister's tenure provides substantial evidence of performance-driven governance. Transformational leadership requires, and for your attention, I spent all my years learning and understanding what transformation and leadership is all about. Transformational leadership requires courage. Courage to enforce standards. Courage to revive dormant systems. Courage to prioritize execution over excuses. The visible progress across major road corridors, urban infrastructure, and administrative reforms within the FCT reflects such courage. Recognition such as this is not about partisanship. It is about performance. It is about acknowledging visible contribution to national development. It affirms that public office carries responsibility to deliver measurable value to the people. History ultimately remembers leaders for the structures they leave behind. Simply a legacy. Simply a legacy. As chairman of this occasion, ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I congratulate His Excellency Barrister Wike, CON, for his transformational contribution to the Federal Capital Territory. May this recognition inspire sustained commitment to institutional strengthening, urban development, and public service excellence. Your Excellency, with due respect and without reservation, we honor you today for decisive leadership and for translating intention into action. As I finish my last sentence here, may I equally use this opportunity to congratulate and recognize the efforts of so many people here, especially the Dean of Social Sciences, for his ability to be able to get a great man here. We're all here. Your Excellency, we respect what you do. Many of us have our own minds. We may come here without saying much, rather shut our mouths and make the thing flow. But you deserve what we are saying. When we look at what you are doing, honestly speaking, we go emotional. There are no places, no nook, no corners, nowhere in Abuja you go today without seeing a solid work being gone. And that's why I accepted to be the chair of this occasion, and I'm happy to be part of this history. Thank you for listening, and God bless you all. Sorry about that. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Please, let's appreciate our chairman once again. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's now my honor to invite a dynamic leader and a passionate advocate of infrastructural development. May we please rise and give a warm round of applause as we respectfully invite to the podium the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Nyesom Wike, to deliver his address.
The Vice Chancellor of this great university, the chairman of today's occasion, the deputy vice chancellor, and other management staff of this great university, the dean, faculty of social sciences, which incidentally, my first faculty when I was a student of University of Port Harcourt. The registrar and the great students of this great university, the distinguished senator, I didn't know that you graduated from this university, but Senator Philip Adidua, Commander of the Order of the Niger, Professor Senator Sandy Ojang Adon. Let me, with the kind permission of the Vice Chancellor, to extend the same greetings to my two children, Jordan and Joaquin. Gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, when I had the invitation to come and deliver this personality lecture, knowing fully well I've had some altercations with the university community about land. I was saying I hope the Dean of Faculty of Social Sciences and the Vice Chancellor are not trying to set me up. And indeed, the Vice Chancellor in his remark alluded to the fact that they have entered into agreement with local and international organizations for further development. I do agree to that, but the reality is that, and the truth must be told, and that's why we're talking about leadership. The chairman of today's occasion, that's why we're talking about leadership. Can we really say, and indeed, those of you who have had the opportunity to school overseas, we have never left here. All our careers have been within the local vicinity. Is there anywhere, university, even Harvard, even Columbia, is cited in 14,000 hectares of land? 14,000. So, Mr. Vice Chancellor, that has to do with the reality of the time. Can we really say that development is merely planting of crops, vegetables? No. 14,000 hectares of land is not 14,000 acres of land. Maybe we'll talk about that later, but I'm not used today for us to discuss about it. But thank God that even when I was Minister of Education, I was never in this university before I became Minister of FCT, and I thank God for the Dean of Social Sciences that he has invited me to come here and do justice to a very important and very apt topic, the impact of political leadership on infrastructural development in Nigeria, between dividends of democracy and good governance. I'm profoundly honored to attend this distinguished gathering in the University of Abuja, a university uniquely situated at the political heart of our nation. I thank the pioneer faculty of this university, prestigious university, the Faculty of Social Sciences, for this invitation and for sustaining a tradition that underscores a fundamental truth that the fate of nations is not merely shaped by power, but by ideas, not merely by authority, but by leadership, anchored in thought, conscience, and responsibility. Across the world, universities occupy a sacred space in national life. They are not simply centers of instruction. They are arenas where societies interrogate themselves, refine their values, imagine better futures, and train the needed manpower. To speak within such a space is therefore both a privilege and a solemn duty, especially at a moment like this in our national journey. This Distinguished Personality Lecture Series is particularly timely. Nigeria stands at a critical juncture where democracy must be re-examined, not as a ritual, but as a responsibility, not as a slogan, but as a living system that must deliver tangible value to the people. The thing before us, I quote, the impact of political leadership on infrastructural development in Nigeria, between dividends of democracy and good governance, end of quote, goes to the very heart of our collective experience. It compels us to confront a difficult but necessary question. Why has democracy, despite its promising, sometimes raised hopes without fulfilling them? And how can purposeful leadership bridge that widening gap between expectation and reality? Democracy beyond rituals. Nigeria has practiced democracy continuously since 1999. Yet, a fundamental question continues to confront us. What kind of democracy are we practicing? Is it the one that merely confers political legitimacy through periodic elections, or one that translates political freedom into tangible improvements in the everyday lives of the people through infrastructure that works, services that deliver, and opportunities that uplift? Properly understood, democracy is a social contract. Its credibility is measured not only at the ballot box, but in the quality of life it creates and sustains. The democracy in Nigeria requires, therefore, must go beyond electoral rituals to manifest in everyday accountability, transparency, and active citizen participation. It must be a system that treats public office not as a privilege to be exploited, but as a sacred trust to be honored, not as an avenue for personal enrichment, but as a platform for collective transformation. Good governance is the engine that drives this aspiration, ensuring that institutions function efficiently and equitably, and that government remains responsive to the needs, dignity, and legitimate expectations of the people. Yet we must remind ourselves that democracy, though widely regarded as the best form of government, is among the most demanding to establish on firm footing and even more difficult to sustain. Democracy is not a potted plant that can be transplanted into any soil and expected to flourish without commitment, sacrifice, and vigilance. As Larry Diamond aptly observes, I quote, "It is one thing to get democracy. It is another thing, often more difficult, to keep it, to consolidate it, to breathe real life and meaning into it to make it endure. End of quote. The Nigerian Democratic Project, therefore, calls us not merely to desire democracy, but to work for it daily and deliberately through responsible leadership, engaged citizenship, and an unyielding commitment to justice and equity. For the ordinary citizen, the market woman, the civil servant, the artisan, and the student, democracy is not an abstract ideal. It must translate into concrete realities, roads that walk, schools that inspire, hospitals that heal, water that runs, security that reassures, and cities that dignify human life. It is in these everyday encounters with the state that democracy is either validated or questioned. Where democracy delivers infrastructure, it earns legitimacy. Where it fails, it breeds cynicism. This is why infrastructure is far more than concrete and still. It is political education in physical form. It teaches citizens that governance is real, leadership is purposeful, and the state exists not as an abstraction, but as a servant of the common good. Where these assurances are absent, democracy becomes fragile, reduced to ritual without substance, form without meaning. Political leadership as the bridge between democracy and development. Many scholars and analysts agree that Nigeria's most persistent obstacle to development is not the absence of ideas or resources, but the scourge of poor and mediocre leadership. Chinua Achebe captured this reality with unsettling clarity in The Trouble with Nigeria when he argued that the nation's fundamental problem is the failure of leadership. However, uncomfortable, this verdict remains difficult to refute. Too often, leadership has emerged from self-serving arrangements, detached from national vision, public interest, and developmental purpose. The consequences have been predictable. A succession of leaders lacking preparation, courage, patriotism, and character. It is therefore unsurprising that Nigeria has spent decades struggling with issues that should be foundational: basic infrastructure, primary health care, effective democratic and judicial institutions, and a functional economy. These are not failures of imagination or policy design. They are failures of leadership. Institutions matter, policies matter, and resources matter. But leadership ultimately determines whether they function or fail. Nations are not built by resources alone. They are built by the quality of leadership that gives direction, coherence, and purpose to those resources. Political leadership in this sense is the decisive bridge between democratic ideals and developmental realities. Democracy promises participation, accountability, and representation. But without purposeful leadership, these promises remain abstract. Development does not occur by accident. Infrastructural growth, social inclusion, and economic transformation are outcomes of deliberate vision, disciplined execution, and political courage. Where leadership is transactional, infrastructure stagnates and institutions decay. Where leadership is decisive and purposeful, infrastructure becomes a catalyst for growth, confidence, and national cohesion. Nigeria's development challenges, therefore, are not primarily a deficit of ideas, plans, or capacity. More often, they reflect failures of vision, courage, and prioritization. Infrastructure suffers when politics is divorced from ideology, when power is pursued as an end rather than a responsibility, and when short-term political gain is preferred to long-term public interest. True political leadership demands difficult choices, choosing systems over personalities, service over self, accountability over convenience, and national interest over narrow advantage. It is only through such leadership that democracy moves beyond promise to performance, and development becomes the lived experience of the people rather than a distant aspiration. It is against this backdrop that one must acknowledge with pride the emergence of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Grand Commander of the Federal Republic, as a leader who exhibits key attributes of purposeful and servant-oriented leadership. His long-standing commitment to the democratic struggle at great personal risk established his credentials well before he assumed the presidency. His record in Lagos State demonstrated a capacity for translating vision into sustained development, particularly in the areas of IGR, infrastructure, and institutional reform. As president, he signaled uncommon resolve from his first day in office by removing the fuel subsidy, a policy long acknowledged as economically destructive, but avoided by successive administrations for lack of political courage. While the reform has generated short-term pains and resistance, it has also freed resources for subnational development, halted the spiral of unsustainable debt, and initiated the difficult process of restoring market discipline to the energy sector. This decision exemplified leadership willing to endure temporary unpopularity in pursuit of long-term national interest. Let me pause here a bit so you understand why we talk about purposeful leadership. Former presidents have acknowledged that fuel subsidy was a scam. Former president, before this particular president came, had acknowledged that fuel subsidy was a scam. It was fraudulent. It was raping resources of the nation. But the question was, who had the courage, who had the temerity to say enough is enough? Yes, he took that position, even though it resulted to short-term suffering. But at the end of the day, money is available for subnationals. Subnationals I talk about like states. Today, so many states don't talk about going to the banks to borrow money. Now the banks run to states to see how they can support because of the availability of funds. If he did not take this decision, if he was afraid of the short-term outcome, obviously it wouldn't have been here. And that's what we call leadership. It is not easy, but you must be firm. You must have the courage to do it. People will criticize you at that time, but at the end of the day, at the long run, who benefits from it? The society, the country benefits. And these are good attributes of purposeful leadership. Beyond this, the administration has begun confronting Nigerian structural imbalances through the devolution of development initiatives via zonal and regional commissions, responding to long-standing complaints about over-centralization and weakened federalism. Security reforms, increased funding, and systematic training of the armed forces further reflect an effort to reduce state capacity and restore public confidence. Taken together, these measures suggest a deliberate attempt to reposition Nigeria on a path of reform, responsibility, and renewal, where leadership consciously serves as the hinge between democratic authority and developmental outcomes. Yet, no leader, however visionary or courageous, can succeed in isolation. National transformation ultimately depends on the active cooperation of citizens. Nigeria must rise above years of cynicism and disengagement to embrace a renewed sense of collective responsibility. History is unequivocal on this point. Progress is forged where leadership and fellowship work in synergy. Nelson Mandela's South Africa and the developmental trajectory of Dubai illustrate how shared belief, disciplined leadership, and collective action convert vision into reality. The present moment, therefore, demands more than criticism. It calls for commitment. The time for belief is now, and the time for action is now. With purposeful political leadership and responsible citizenship working in concert, Nigeria can begin the serious task of institutionalizing a political order in which democracy delivers development and leadership truly functions as the bridge between aspiration and achievement. Infrastructure is not simply roads and bridges. It is the circuitry of nationhood. It connects destinies, unlocks human potentials, and provides the physical and digital foundations upon which national transformation rests. No nation becomes great without robust infrastructure. A truly functional Nigeria is one where a child in rural Zamfara state enjoys the same quality of education, healthcare, and opportunity as one in the FCT, where efficient transport, reliable power, and digital innovation are not privileges, but everyday realities. Infrastructure, in this sense, is architecture of equality. It delivers dignity, inclusion, productivity, and hope. It is for this reason that infrastructure remains the most measure of governance. It is the clearest language through which governments reveal their priorities, values, and seriousness of purpose. Roads point to what truly matters. Urban planning reflects what is valued. Public transportation signals inclusiveness. Housing policy exposes whether leadership understands dignity as a public good. Infrastructure, therefore, is therefore not merely physical, it is social, economic, and moral. When government builds roads, they connect not only cities, but economies. When they invest in schools, they shape not only literacy, but citizenship. When they provide reliable power, they energize not only industry, but human dignity. In this way, infrastructure becomes political education cast in concrete and steel, teaching citizens that governance is real, leadership is purposeful, and the state exists to serve. Even the strenuous critic of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will concede that Nigeria is witnessing tangible improvement in infrastructure. His Renewed Hope agenda is more than a slogan. It represents a deliberate reordering of national priorities towards sustainable development. Through decisive investment and political courage, the administration is confronting long-standing structural challenges that previous governments avoided. Without infrastructure, development stalls. With it, progress becomes not only possible, but inevitable. Where infrastructure is transparently planned and faithfully executed, it builds trust between the state and the people. Where it is neglected, politicized, or abandoned, it deepens alienation and fuels cynicism. The dividends of democracy are not speeches or promises. They must be felt daily by citizens in visible, functional, and enduring ways. In this regard, Infrastructure is the point at which democracy is tested and governance is authenticated. The rapid transformation of Abuja under our watch stands as compelling evidence of this philosophy in action. In less than 3 years, the federal capital has accelerated toward the standards of a modern city befitting a great nation. This progress reflects not chance, but commitment made possible by the unwavering support and leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and increasingly affirmed by both local commentators and international observers. The Federal Capital Territory occupies a unique place in Nigeria's democratic imagination. Abuja is not merely a city, it's a national statement. It tells Nigerians and the world who we are, what we value, and how seriously we take governance. How we build, maintain, and renew Abuja ultimately signal the kind of democracy we are determined to practice and the standard of leadership we are willing to uphold. In this sense, Abuja is not just a capital, it's a mirror of our national conscience and a measure of our collective ambition. Good governance, the moral foundation of development. Good governance is the moral foundation upon which sustainable development rests. Infrastructure alone does not define leadership. The moral architecture of those who wield power matters just as much. Roads, schools, and public utilities are visible symbols, but without ethical stewardship, they remain superficial, cosmetic, rather than transformative. True governance demands transparency in decision-making, accountability in resource use, fairness in policy implementation, and respect for institutions and the rule of law. Infrastructure built without these principles collapses, not always physically, but institutionally. Democracy without good governance produces inequality, resentment, and instability. Democracy guided by ethical, disciplined leadership produces resilience, innovation, and shared prosperity. Good governance is therefore not optional. It is foundational. It requires moral discipline, institutional courage, and the willingness to make difficult decisions when they are unpopular. Leadership must be anchored on values rather than expediency, and on the long-term national interest rather than short-term political gain. Development without rules and accountability is unsustainable. Orderless democracy is fragile. Governance must be firm, fair, and forward-looking, ensuring that society benefits collectively from leadership that's principled, that's courageous, and unwavering. The FCT as a laboratory of dividends of democratic governance. The experience of the Federal Capital Territory exemplifies the fundamental truth of democratic governance. Leadership is not about pleasing everyone. It's about doing what is right, lawful, and necessary for the collective progress of the people. Our intervention in the FCT since 2023 demonstrates that when authorities exercise with accountability, infrastructure becomes more than concrete and steel. It becomes a visible lesson in ethical leadership, a tangible affirmation that the state exists to serve, and a durable foundation for social and economic transformation. Permit me to state that the Federal Capital Territory is cited here not for self-praise, but as concrete evidence of what becomes possible when political leadership aligns authority with responsibility. Abuja was conceived as a symbol of national unity, order, and purposeful governance. Over time, however, that founding vision came under strain. Unplanned settlement expanded, infrastructure became overstretched, urban discipline weakened, and the credibility of governance itself was gradually eroded. Our task has therefore been clear and non-negotiable to restore Abuja to its founding ideals while deliberately adapting it to the realities of a rapidly growing modern capital. In recent times, the transformation of Federal Capital Territory has demonstrated what focused, principled, and intentional leadership can achieve when democracy is treated not as a ceremonial ritual, but as a continued responsibility to deliver public good. This commitment has found expression in massive investment in road networks to improve mobility, stimulate economic activity, reconnect communities, ease congestion, and unlock productivity. It has also involved the systematic renewal of urban infrastructure to enhance safety, aesthetics, and operational efficiency, recognizing that a capital city must not only function effectively, but also embody dignity, order, and national pride. Equally important has been the firm yet humane enforcement of planning regulations, guided by the conviction that a city without order cannot truly serve its people. Legality has been balanced with compassion and discipline pursued not as a punishment, but as a prerequisite for shared prosperity. Alongside this is a deliberate commitment to inclusive development, ensuring that growth does not terminate at the city center, but extends meaningfully to satellite towns and surrounding communities so that no part of the capital is left behind. I don't know how many of you have had the opportunity, not just coming to the university here, but having the opportunity to go out to the satellite towns. Before this period, communities don't even know those who are in government. Communities don't even know who is called a minister. They've never seen a minister in their life. But I can speak to you today because of the purposeful leadership. Communities now can feel positive impact that indeed we are now having governance. And that alone is not but only them. Those of us who have entrusted on this assignment cannot tell people how satellite towns are. Areas I've never seen in my life, communities I've never had in my life, but with this opportunity, I can now say social communities are communities that make up the FCT. The chairman of the occasion has said the completion of Apo Karishi Road. That road was awarded since 2010. 2010, while we are in 2026, how many years? 16 good years. Now you can imagine a contract awarded 16 years ago. What will be variation upon variation upon variation? But I'm happy today that the inhabitants, the residents of Apokrashi are living a live of life that yet we thought by now this road that was conceptualized that would decongest the Apo area would have been completed, but it's unfortunate. Go to Gogolada today, go to Kwali, from AT Road to Pai, from Pai to Gomani, from Gomani to Nyengoji. If I didn't have the opportunity, I wouldn't have known these communities. Go to Karu. Karu is under Amak, but you can't believe it. You can't find good roads. But today, the senator is nodding his head. He's from that community. I was asking him, he was chairman of House Committee, FCT. He became minority leader of Senate. Why didn't you do it? Go to Dede. That has been a nightmare for communities. But today is a thing of the past. But once you have a leadership that means well for the people, it's very easy. It's a matter of commitment. And that's why we are saying Now is the time. It's not time to complain. It's time to support the government to be able to achieve this. It's very, very key. And you can imagine what is going on. Like, take, for example, leadership. Most of the green areas have been converted. The master plan of Abuja was distorted. Now you require leadership. And that's what I always tell people. That the government has come yesterday, did not take that decision. Don't mean that another government that comes today will not take that decision. Or if that government today does not take it, it does not stop another government coming tomorrow from taking the right decision. People will be saying, is it the first time? Is it the first government that has come? We have been here all these years. Why can't he leave us? That is sentiment. That is emotion. You are not supposed to be there. That is not what the master plan talks. And so you must have a decisive leadership. You don't need to be liked. It's not for anybody to like you. It's not a beauty contest. When people talk about me without criticism, I believe there's something fundamentally wrong. But when they criticize, I know I'm doing the right thing. Just like when the Vice of Abuja was criticizing me, I was smiling. I know I took a decision that's very difficult. But to let you know the truth, I was not the minister that revoked the CFO. I was not. It was another minister that was here that revoked it. All I did was to implement what I saw. I have the capacity, the courage to implement what others ran away from. You have asked me about doing roads and this. You see, it's very good. We'll promise you what to do, but we'll not promise what we cannot do. I'm not coming here to, just like the other day, some people went on demonstration, and somebody said, I brought my son here. He's a doctor, in case anybody falls down. Meanwhile, the child has no medical equipment with him. Meanwhile, there's no ambulance there with him in case anybody slumps. And this is the kind of thing, the kind of leadership we want. And we're happy. People are talking about electronic transmission today. Why not ask who were those who were responsible that there was no electronic transmission in the last election? When they're out of office, they become the people's voice. But when they're inside office, they won't say anything. As a governor, I challenge the federal government. When they come up with police trust fund, I went to court. I said, no, this is not right. You cannot sit in Abuja and take my money. No, security is purely under the federal government. You have to invite me to say, look, how do we work together? How do we collaborate to make sure we have good security? But not sitting to take a decision. Everybody was afraid. Why are you daring the government? I said, I'm not daring the government. I'm doing what is right. And we won in court. And the court said, give him back his money. Now other states wanted to reap from where they did not sow. And the court said, no, you cannot. When the issue of VAT came here, I look at it, yes, it may not favor you, but the truth is that under our laws, whose responsibility should collect VAT? It's not about if we don't give up VAT now, my state will be losing money. That's been emotional. That's been sentimental. We are talking about what is the law? What does it say? Before we now talk about it, well, this is what the law says. But for purpose of living together, be your brother's keeper. But let's agree, this is the right thing. And that's leadership. You can't buy it. No good leader is liked easily. No. No good leader. Because you take hard decisions, but for the interest of the people. For the interest of the people. And that's what matters. The VC is here now. If he wants to dance to the gallery, he will be saying things that students will like. By the end of the day, how has it improved the quality of life and the quality of education the students have. But when you take a very decisive decision that students may be thinking is not favorable to them today, it is future he's talking about. He's not talking about today. You may not be the one that will benefit it today, but it's the future that will benefit it. That is courageous leadership. Not leadership, you look at the left, we attend the same church. You look at the right, we attend the same mosque. You look at the back, we speak the same language. No. We can't get it right. And that's why the decisions being taken today by the present government may be very hurting, but it's a short time. At the end of the day, you can see how the Naira is getting stabilized. Before, we thought it would be up to 2,000. But look at the exchange rate today, it's about 1,300. If we did not take those steps, it wouldn't have been good. And I want to say that this is the time for us now to support the government and do the right thing. The place of the university in the consolidation of democracy and nation building. Universities occupy a strategic and historic position in every nation's democratic ecosystem. Their classrooms are far more than spaces for instruction. They are crucibles where ideas are tested, values are formed, and the conscience of future leadership is refined. Within these intellectual laboratories, policymakers, diplomats, administrators, analysts, and leaders in waiting are shaped. The depth of scholarship cultivated in universities ultimately determines the quality of governance. The kind of quality we get affects the quality of governance. We cannot say no to it. For decisions that guide society tomorrow are born in the classrooms. Debates and research cultures of today. Universities occupy a sacred space in nation building. They preserve memory, interrogate power, and cultivate the courage to speak truth to authority. The Faculty of Social Sciences stands at the intersection of knowledge and policy, theory and practice, shaping minds that will shape society. I'm a very proud graduate of social sciences. So many people say, barrister. My foundation is social sciences. So that's what I would say. Before egg, that's chicken. So before law, I was already shaped on what I'm going to face in the society. So social sciences, I'm not trying to, but we have always led the way. And the faculty, during Faculty of Law and Social Sciences, I would encourage you to continue to do what you are doing, to the admiration of other faculties. Your duty is not merely to interpret society, but to challenge it, not merely to produce graduates, but to cultivate conscience, critical thinking, and ethical commitment. Democracy flourishes where ideas are free. Scholarship is rigorous, and truth is spoken without fear of favor. Equally crucial is the role of political education. In this regard, institutions like the University of Abuja play a historic role. They shape minds that will shape policy, leadership, and society. A nation that neglects political education prepares the ground for democratic decay. Universities must actively empower people to demand accountability, participate meaningfully in nation building, reject manipulation, and defend democratic norms. In fulfilling this mission, the university ensures that democracy transcends ritual and rhetoric, becoming a live and sustaining reality anchored by informed minds, engaged citizens, and principled leadership. In shaping such citizens, the university does far more than educate. It acts as a custodian of the nation's future. This responsibility rests with particular weight on the University of Abuja, standing as the gateway to Nigeria's tertiary education system and a sentinel as the threshold of the nation's democratic and intellectual life. Nigeria's future will not be secured by eloquence or promise alone, but by leadership that understands democracy as a continuous obligation rather than a periodic event. Democracy must yield tangible dividends for the people. Infrastructure must serve human dignity, and governance must be ethical, inclusive, and forward-looking. These are not abstract ideals, but enduring responsibilities. The task before us is undoubtedly demanding, yet it remains achievable if leadership stays purposeful and citizens remain vigilant, informed, and engaged. History reminds us that power is fleeting, but legacy endures. Leaders are remembered not for the offices they occupy, but for the lives they transform. Not for elections won, but for decisions they strengthened and the opportunities they created. Democracy derives its moral authority only when it works for the people. Infrastructure attains its highest meaning when it restores dignity and improves well-being. Leadership reaches its noblest expression when power is exercised with conscience, guided by vision, and committed to service. In this sense, political leadership is stewardship, the sacred duty of converting authority into opportunity and responsibility into lasting progress. It is my hope that this lecture will provoke reflection, stimulate debate, and renew commitment, especially among scholars, students, policymakers, and young citizens to the demanding but noble task of building a democratic Nigeria anchored on good governance, ethical leadership, and inclusive development. I'm deeply grateful to the university and to the Faculty of Social Sciences in particular for the honor of this platform. This recognition strengthens my resolve to continue serving the nation, advancing democratic consolidation, and contributing to sustainable national development. Let me end by wishing you a most engaging and intellectually rich two-day discourse on themes that strike at the very heart of democratic consolidation and the prosperity of our nation building. Democracy must never remain a mere procedural exercise. It must be practiced in ways that tangibly enhance the welfare, dignity, and well-being of the Nigerian people. Only then can it fulfill its true promise as a vehicle for collective progress and development. I would say, Mr. Vice Chancellor, that the Federal Capital Territory Administration will be happy to receive the list of what you want us to support you. Thank you, and God bless.
Of the greatest Nigerian student, of the greatest Nigerian student, great Gbagba, great Gbogbo, great Gbagba. As he dey sweet us, he dey pain them. As he dey sweet us, he dey pain them. Great Nigerian student.
Quite reassuring words from the Honorable Minister that once the Vice Chancellor is ready with his list and brings it to him, he's going to attend to it. Please, let's have another round of applause for him. Well, thank you once again, the Honorable Minister, for that insightful and inspiring address. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraint, we kindly crave your indulgence to dispense with one of the important items on this program, and we shall proceed to another equally important one. And this time around, the impactful work of the Honorable Minister in transforming the Federal Capital Territory and contributing to national development is well acknowledged and well known by everyone. In recognition of his outstanding service, the organizers of this program wish to present a modest token of appreciation. On this note, may I now respectfully invite the Vice Chancellor of our great university, Professor Hakeem Babatunde Fawemi, and the Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences, Professor Mutiulai Olasopo, to kindly step forward for the presentation of awards to the Honorable Minister. Please let's appreciate them once again as they come to the podium.
Yes. The mic is similar. Thank you very much, sir. This token of award is presented to the Honorable Minister of Federal Capital Territory in recognition of your strategic leadership and demonstrable track record in deepening democracy, strengthening democratic ethics and values in Nigeria, and of course, promoting good governance based on the infrastructural development that you have executed in this Federal Capital Territory and across Nigeria. So this award of Icon of Democracy and Infrastructural Development in Nigeria is kindly presented to you by the Faculty of Social Science, University of Abuja, for this demonstrable track record of yours. Thank you so much.
Excellency, the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Dr. Nyesom Wike, Commander Order of the Niger, on behalf of the Governing Council, ably led by Senator Dr. Larewaju Teju Osho, Senate management, staff, and the entire students of the University of Abuja, now Yakubu Gowon University, we present to you this prestigious award for your transformational leadership, your political sagacity, and for the wonderful lecture you've given to us today, akin to an inaugural lecture for the good work you are doing in the Federal Capital Territory. Congratulations, sir.
Check. Upgrade Nigerian student. Upgrade Nigerian student. I want to say, I want to yarn, I want to affirm, I want to reaffirm, I want to confirm, I want to reconfirm. Allow me to reconfirm. I want to introduce. Allow me to introduce my capable, respectable, charitable leader, the man of dignity, the man of justice, the man of integrity, the man of honor, the man of humble, our respectable, charitable, federal minister, capital territory. I want to give you three fundamental articulated linguistic critical bossa. Another capacity, double.
The minister is leaving. He has another important, equally important assignment to attend to. But as he leaves, it's important that we bring this event to a close. May I call on Dr. Grace Egu, the Deputy Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences, for his vote of thanks. Dr. Egu, please. National anthem. National anthem.
Ask me 10 times.
I'm so
I will
sorry.
not tell you again. They have all gone now. Who is here again? Okay. On behalf of the chief host, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Abuja, Professor Hakim Fayomi, and the convener, Professor Mutuila Olasipo, Dean, Faculty of the Social Sciences, we thank His Excellency, Barrister Nyesom Wike, Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, and his entourage, Senator Philip Aduda, Senator Professor Sandy Ono, for taking out time from his busy schedule to present a paper on the exemplary political leadership and infrastructural development in Nigeria. You will all agree with me that the minister is performing, whether you like him or not. We want to also thank the chairman of the occasion, Professor Aminu Ibrahim Goso MNI, former coordinating director, EFCC, for his paper presentation. We want to thank the deans, provosts, and all professors and staff of the university community and the students of the university for taking out time to attend this August occasion. I wish you all a safe return to your destinations. Thank you.